Got what time Blowout came out? Ooh, hey everyone. Tonight's guest is a Worcester, Massachusetts dynamo who's all heart and hustle. Tommy Jay Dwyer is an actor, a writer, a director with deep, deep Irish American roots. He's the son of a firefighter. He's been in the Actors Guild since 2006, and I know I've been in it longer. Popping up in 21, The Social Network, The Finest Hours, and his latest jewel, Soulless. You'll hear about that. His 2023 short, The Hit, snagged the award for achievement at the Boston International Film Festival. And he's all about real, subtle storytelling that hits you right here. Welcome to the show, Tommy Jay Dwyer.
All right.
So, growing up as a firefighter son in Worcester, how did that blue-collar Irish vibe shape your childhood and storytelling?
For sure. Yeah, no, it was amazing. So my dad and my two uncles were both, all three of them Worcester firefighters. And my grandmother lived in the house directly behind us. So as a kid, I kind of grew up as like the fourth way younger brother. So like we would hang out at her table and eat lunch and dinner, and like they would just be firing around stories and like talking about the firehouse and stuff that happened that day. And I was kind of just there soaking it all in. And I think sort of by osmosis became a storyteller at like a very young age, you know?
That's so fabulous. I actually have a Dalmatian. I don't know if
Look at that. Oh, cool. I've never seen one at a fire station in real life, so I don't know. It must be a myth, you know?
And my niece, that's how I got one, because of my niece. And I have a lot of firefighter friends in Washington, D.C.
Oh, very cool.
Yes. What pulled you into acting? Any Worcester moment that lit the spark?
I'll tell you what, this is so crazy. I kind of always wanted to do it ever since I was a little kid. I was like an actor, director my whole life. Like when I was 3, and I was probably way too young to be watching this movie, but like I was obsessed with Top Gun. And I would always walk around with like the bomber jacket, and I'd be like, hey, call me Maverick and you do this and say this to me. And so like, I was just always like that. And it wasn't something that, you know, I tried to be or whatever. It just was a part of who I am. I always wanted to be doing that. And I grew up watching movies, you know, and really getting into them. And a huge influence, may rest in peace, for me was always Val Kilmer. And, you know, people would always like, give me a hard time about that and like joke around. I'm like, I'm telling you, like, he was in all of my favorite movies. Like I really grew up either wanting to be him in a movie or wanting to be his best friend that was in the movie. So that was really where I started getting into it at a young age, was just growing up watching a lot of movies. And, you know, my dad, funny guy, but like he was not a kids movie guy. So like we watched what he wanted to watch. His whole thing was like, hey, when you can afford a TV for yourself, you can watch what you want. So I grew up watching like, you know, Top Gun and Tombstone and Platoon when I was like a little kid. So I got into like really good movies at a really probably way too young age.
But that's good. Joining the Screen Actors Guild in 2006. How did you feel like that for a local kid?
Yeah, it was cool. It was, you know, I played football in college, and then, you know, after college, I went to New York for a little while and did some acting there, and was able to join the Screen Actors Guild, and then came back to Worcester, right? And coming back, it was, you know, one of those things where it was super cool, but also really hard, because you almost like get this, at least I did, you get this feeling of like when you join SAG, you know, you've kind of made it, but really you're not even like at step 1 yet. So it was like, I did it, like I made it. Then I was like, oh wow, you know, the calendar keeps flipping, and I'm like, wow, that really didn't do much for me yet, you know.
What's a gritty tale from your early days that still drives your work?
I mean, I think like the time in New York was super gritty. It was like, you know, auditioning, going out late at night, like in your early 20s, and just like living it up. And then like having a semi cool apartment that like, looked cool on paper, but in reality, like eating hot dogs and beans because you had like absolutely no money and like ramen noodles. But then like, you know what I mean? And like going to the auditions though, you had like the nice clothes that like I was renting, by the way. There was a thing that you could like rent boxes of clothes. So like I would rent like really nice clothes and then return them and like vacuum seal them and send them back. And like, I think just like putting out early on the perception of being successful and in the reality, like being a total rooster illusion, was hard living,
Yeah, I do know. Been there, done that.
For sure. And I think everyone has, right?
Yeah, and I did in heels.
Yeah, exactly. You had it even harder than I did. Yeah. Yeah.
How do Winster's realness sneak into your creative vibe?
That's a good point. Like to me, Worcester is, and I wrote a whole thing on this. It was a TV pilot that I wrote called Hollywood. I'm actually rocking the Hollywood shirt.
Oh, yes. Excuse me.
Oh my God. I forgot you had the shades.
Oh, baby.
I'm telling you, they look good on you. Those are good shades.
Continue.
But it's like it's a city that, at least when I was growing up, and they've made a lot of progress now in terms of where it is as a city, but it was always like Boston's little brother. And, it was a city that I always say, in my comedy and even in script, that's too big to ever truly escape, but too small to ever truly grow. Right. So, you can be a big fish in a little pond, or like you try and get out and then you always end up back in Worcester. It's like a vacuum to people. And so how it shaped my writing and my career is just, I've decided that there's a ton of talent here. There's a lot of talent in Massachusetts and in Central Mass. And John Keogh too, who I know you've spoken with before. And, we kind of connected at the Hollywood premiere and had a similar outlook that, a lot of big productions come to Massachusetts or Central Massachusetts and they use our resources, right? But they don't use the talent, the crew, the cast. So I'm trying to make a sustainable ecosystem with John in Massachusetts where we're using local people in doing it here. You know what I mean? So it really has shaped me a lot, I think.
And that is so cool. That's where I met you at the Den of Winter.
It is. So, look at that. Oh, VIP. Oh, that's kind of a brag.
Well, of course, baby. We only go where we're celebrated.
100%. Yeah. That was super cool meeting you all there too. That was awesome.
And I don't think it was your first premiere screening, or was it of Solus?
It was. That was the first time Solus
screened. So I was there for your first
you were there. You were the first people to ever see it. Yeah.
I was going to save this for later, but we'll go back to your back and go into this because this is so cool. Tell.
For sure. Yeah. So I wrote Solus just for the Dead of Winter, right? I went last year and, I was like, there's a film festival in Worcester. Why do I not have a film in it? And horror was never my vibe. It's not something that like I grew up watching or that I'd always wanted to do, but I looked at it as a challenge and we had a real short runway. And I said to John, like, hey, I want to try and get something in Dead of Winter. Do you think we can do it? He's like, well, if we don't try, we can't. So we tried and we did it. And we got it in the Dead of Winter. And it was like a psychological thriller, which I kind of leaned into more, theater of the mind, like the Jaws kind of subtlety, like we talked about. And I wanted to make it stand out and be different. And I think we succeeded in that. And it was super cool to have a film in a local film festival that was right here in Worcester,
Yeah, I love it. Colleen says it was an amazing event, and James says Worcester.
James is actually in the movie. James played Malcolm. Yeah.
Nice. And I loved it. Such a cool concept.
Oh, cool. Thank you, Colleen.
Yes, thanks for being here. Share it out. Share it,
please.
So are you entering more film festivals now with it?
Yeah, so right now that's kind of what's up with Solus. We have it in the film circuit. I have it in 12 festivals now submitted. So fingers crossed, we'll see if it gets accepted and hopefully win some awards. And then we'll see what we can do from there. I have a concept that I think I was telling you about. Maybe I didn't, but I want to use Solus as the first part of a 3-part feature. So we're going to do like a little anthology where I want to do 3 different types of horror. We have the theater of the mind, sort of psychological thriller. The next one I wrote is called Dead End. Super excited about this one. It's going to be like a bloodbath, right? Like a completely different take on horror that I've ever done personally. And then the third one's going to be sort of like the magnum opus. So it's going to be a little bit longer, a little bit more complex, where I'm building like sort of a really interesting concept. And then we're going to package it as a feature, tie it together with some sort of narrator that will lead you in and out of each movie. I'm picking up like vibes from like Tales from the Crypt or Twilight Zone, where you have that sort of narration, and then we'll package it as a feature and see what we can do with it.
Ooh.
I think it's gonna be fun.
And you have another one to enter in Dead of Winter next year.
Yeah, exactly.
Where I can get another, what do you say, charcuterie board from your beautiful
charcuterie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was so good. Eric's going to put up a picture. This is the exact one that I ate before. I devoured it, and I didn't even really care for them before, but this was so delicious. I'm now a fan. And I sent
Carrie's going to be super excited. Yeah. So yeah, follow charcuterie_woo on Instagram if you guys don't already. That's my wife, Carrie. Yeah.
I should have put a couple of those in the green room next.
Oh, I know. Next time.
The Social Network, The Finest Hours. What's the wildest memory from those big sets?
Yeah. So the funniest one. So Social Network was great. I rode to set in a big Escalade, and Justin Timberlake was actually in the front of the Escalade. I didn't talk to him or anything. I just kind of got in, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is the craziest thing that ever happened." He seemed really nice and cool. That was cool. But what was really cool in that movie is Jesse Eisenberg, who played Mark Zuckerberg. Oh, thanks, Louise. Shooter Bang Bang, who played he played Mark Zuckerberg in the movie. Approached me and he was like, "Hey, like, what's your name?" And I was like, "Oh, it's Tommy Dwyer." And we have a scene where they're doing Harvard Face Mash, and they're kind of like, it was the very first like hotornot.com iteration that Zuckerberg made. And my role was I was on a laptop with a couple of guys, and we were going like, "Oh no, swipe left," like, yeah, whatever. And so we did the scene, and I thought that was cool. I didn't know until the movie came out that he used my actual name in the scene preceding it. So he says, "I'm going to send it to Dwyer and a couple of the guys and see what he thinks." And so that was like really cool. So if you're listening, Jesse Eisenberg, thank you. But I never got to, thank him or connect on that. But it was a really cool moment when I watched the movie. I was like, "Oh my God, he actually used my name." That was really, really interesting.
That is very cool.
So that was super cool. Yeah. And then another funny moment was on The Fighter. I was one of the SAG guys in Boston that knew how to box. So they put me in as like a boxer in the gym scenes that are in The Fighter. And I had the headgear on and the gloves and stuff. And we did all the auditions, and they had me, shadow boxing. And then I think I had to send in like a heavy bag workout, like all sorts of crazy stuff, as you know, that you got to do to get a part. And, they were fine. Like, you can box, right? I was like, yeah, I boxed for a long time. I know how to box. So they put me in a ring, and they're like, "All right, you're going to do some light sparring in the background of these scenes," which, by the way, as you know, is like a 14-hour long day. So like, I was like, I didn't know what the cardio I was in for on that day. But across the ring from me was Jose Rivera, who's a like 2-time world champion boxer. I was like, dude, I can't. I was like, I'm an actor that knows how to hit a heavy bag. I'm not a boxer. He was like, nah, he was super nice though. He's like, I'll be super easy with you. I was like, thank you, dude, because you could kill me. So yeah, that was funny.
No kidding. Oh my goodness. My acting teacher, Glenn Morshower, they use his name a couple of times too, and they have it on his jacket.
Oh, cool.
Call of Duty.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. He was let's see, General Shepard.
Okay.
Now he's using your name that people won't forget you. That's another good.
Yeah, and it's something that kind of like lives on forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, forever, as in really forever. It's a legacy for your daughters.
Yeah, exactly.
Maggie and Mav.
Maggie and Maeve. Yep.
Maeve.
Yeah. Nice Irish name,
Yes, 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 yes. Very
Yeah.
nice. So playing in the social network, how was it how part of being in that whole tech world buzz? Did you learn anything new? Did you like know what was coming? Did you
No, I mean, yeah, no, at the time I didn't. I ended up working in tech for a long time after that, which was interesting. So that's kind of an interesting side story, but it had nothing to do with the social network. I mean, it was just so cool. That was early on kind of in my career. And it was so cool. I remember, being on set and just being in awe of how the like real principal actors were digesting information and working with the director and how the director was working with them. And like, those are the moments I think if I could go back, like to young actors or young people watching this, like really soak in those moments, because what you learn is invaluable years down the road when you go like, hey, you know what? I think I want to direct. And then you can recall moments from when you were on the other side of the coin, and you're like, you get into a situation, you're like, you know what? I can go back to my like Rolodex, and I know how certain people reacted that I really respected. Or in some cases where I was like, I would have probably handled that in a different way. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think those early onset experiences have helped build me into a filmmaker as opposed to just, an actor. And I think if you're always looking at stuff through the lens of how can I get better? What can I learn from this experience? You'll be able to carry yourself a lot further than you may think.
and you learn what to do and what not to do and how to act
Yeah,
or not to act.
100%, right? It's like how to direct and how not to direct. Let me get somewhere. You know what I mean? Like let me take all those lessons.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or
That's
act or whatever. There was a lot of times on set where you learn something really cool that an actor does, right? Or other times where you go like, oh, I don't think I would ever behave like that, regardless of where I am in life.
mhm,
Yeah,
very important. And
yeah,
how to be an editor's actor,
a
since you never know
hundred,
what's behind the camera, what they're looking for, how to
a
end up
hundred
on the
percent.
film and not on the ground because you
Yep,
were not
a
paying
hundred,
attention at the moment
a
or
100%. Yeah, and that's such a huge thing too. I was in a movie, 27 Dresses, and it was about Forever Bridesmaid, essentially, right?
mhm.
And we shot for like 3 days. And it was a 1980s wedding, and I was the best man in the wedding. Um, and like you said, this was early on, and I told everyone, I'm like, oh, I'm in this thing, I got this great thing, and blah blah blah, and never made the movie. And then you're sitting there going, oh man, never got in the credits, never made the movie, and it's like, wow, you get the paycheck, which is cool, but at the end of the day, you go like, well, how do you not end up on the cutting room floor again the next time? You know?
You learned a lot of good lessons,
Yeah, yeah,
and
for
you get to
sure.
appreciate when you do get to see yourself up on the silver screen.
Yeah, and I learned to not tell anyone until you actually see the movie that you're in the movie.
That's pretty wise too.
Yeah.
What's the biggest lesson Hollywood taught you before you went indie?
Let me see. The biggest lesson Hollywood taught me, I think, is that stuff can change at the drop of a hat. Like you can be on the top of the world 1 second and at the lowest of the low the very next second and then back up again. And it can go that fast. So you really have to, if this is something you want to do and this is something you truly care about, you have to develop a really strong sense of self, which
Mhm.
took me a long time and lots of therapy and hypnosis and all sorts of crazy stuff to do. Because when you get in it, when you're 22, right, and you get a little bit of success, I think like regardless of who you are, you think you're pretty cool. And then you get snapped down really fast and really hard in this world. And you start going like, what's wrong with me? Why is this not working out now? Like it used to work every time. And I used to get every call back, and then you start not. And I think you have to develop a really strong sense of self and understanding of who you are as a person and what guides you as a person and what you will do and what you won't do. And you can't, I became a huge believer in the philosophy of whether it's acting or filmmaking, and this came from sort of like the Hollywood industry, you can't control what anyone else thinks of you. So all you can do is, as an actor, go in there and give it all you can, take the feedback and provide them what they're asking you. And as a filmmaker, all you can do is put out a film that you are really proud of, that you believe in your heart is the right product. And if it does great, that's a bonus. And if it doesn't, you go, you know what? I still believe that this was the best I could have done. And regardless of what the critics say or what, people in the audience say, you can stand by, well, you know what? I'm proud of it because like, I like it. So that's all I care about. And I think that was my biggest lesson, and it's a hard one, and it took years and years to learn it, but
it's a good one. I've been listening to a lot of talks about just that subject, and you were so eloquent restating it.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now think Will Smith.
Yeah. Will Smith. I'm a big Rick Rubin guy. I don't know. I know he does music producer, but he's a big believer in that sort of philosophy too. Of like, I'm going to put in my whole heart and soul. Yeah, thanks, John. Whole heart and soul, and like, if it comes out great, it does, and if it bombs, it does. And I can't control that.
In your heart, it was your best work. That's all.
And like Will Smith's a great example on the acting side, but there are, as you know, countless numbers of people, writers, directors that like would do 15 great things and then one thing doesn't go well, and then you're digging your way back out for like 10 years, if ever, right? So you just really have to rely on like, I know what I did was for a reason, and wherever I end up, you're always going to be okay. You'll always be all right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always.
100%.
Thank you. So great.
Yeah, until you're not, and then you won't even know anyway. So it's like whatever.
And then you'll be on another adventure.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you'll probably be writing and directing it.
Yeah, my grandmother when I was younger. Yeah. So my production company's Greatest Grand Production. She was like my best friend. She was the funniest lady, but she went to Ireland and she came back with this thing for me because I was always a nervous person, and she gave me this thing called an Irish worry stone. And it was like a flat stone. Have you seen those before?
Yes, I have.
Okay, well, they had that saying on the back, and it's like so funny, and it's hard to live by it, but it's such a good motto. And it's like, in life, there's only two things to worry about: either you're healthy or you're sick. And if you're healthy, there's nothing to worry about. And if you're sick, you only have two things to worry about, right? You either get better or you die. And if you get better, then there's nothing to worry about. And if you die, you only have two things to worry about: you either go to heaven or you go to hell. And if you go to heaven, you got nothing to worry about. And if you go to hell, you're going to be so busy hanging out with your friends that you'll forget what even happened and you have nothing to worry about.
You could have those on your next table, your next event,
Yeah, right.
Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
So how do those big films prep you for writing and directing on your own?
I mean, so I was fortunate on a couple of the sets to become friends with some of the writers that I now look up to, like really, really closely. Mm-hmm. And at a young age, I built a connection with some really powerful, Hollywood writers and producers.
Like who?
I'm not a huge name dropper, but I was out to dinner last night with Richie Farrell, who was one of the writers on The Fighter, and he sold a bunch of scripts to Hollywood. A great author. Also, he's written many books, much like yours, Black Pearl. Yes. Yeah.
Class for station identification now available on Audible.
Now on Audible. And and Richie's become a great friend of mine who in others, but Richie in particular, who really has helped develop my writing and the way I look at the process of filmmaking. And at a young age, to have mentors like those people that you have like sort of a direct line to and never really like abused, but utilized as necessary, helped me put in perspective, like, Richie always said, writing or filmmaking is like fighting a bear. You don't stop when you get tired. You stop when the bear gets tired. And that's something that like I've held on to since I was in my 20s. I'm going like this is the truth. You know what I mean? And so just understanding that it's a process, and sometimes things take 10 years and then it works. And sometimes things like Soulless you can put together in a month and it works. But like, you just got to know that it's a roller coaster.
I have a girlfriend in acting class, Alexa Bowling, and she entered a contest and she had 9 days to do the entire film. And
Yeah,
she came up with a little masterpiece.
that's so cool.
Wow. She directed, produced it, was
Yeah,
in it, hired the actresses. I mean, oh my gosh.
that's so cool.
It is. I'm like, wow, it's so wonderful to be around this kind of talent and creativity.
Isn't it just fun when it all fires on all cylinders? Isn't it the best?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. Your life just hums along and you're just prance out of bed in the morning because you're so
100%.
excited.
And that was the same way with Soulless. Like, I connected with John and I was like, can we make this happen? And he's like, first step, like, we got to get a good DP on board. And we got Stevie Schloss, who like is just fantastic. And he's a great dude. And gives you critical feedback, which is what I love. Like, he's not just like, oh, this is perfect. He's like, oh, dude, like, what are we doing here? And I'm like, whoa, you're pushing me to be better. Like, that's super cool. We had Stuart Valberg who came on. I gave him like a creative producer, but like, that guy was helping me direct when I was on set, when I was acting. And like, another guy that pushes you, that doesn't just like let the scene go. Like, he's like, dude, like, let's get it. You know what I mean? And then we had, Jordan Toffolo, who played Dr. Bates. Jordan is a director, writer in her own right, who I was fortunate enough. She played my wife in a movie earlier this year for a different director, and that's where we met. And I had been looking up to her for a long time because I'd seen her journey. And so we connected on that set. And I was just like, Jordan, like, I want to write you a role, much like you. She's a tall, pretty blonde girl, right? I was like, I want to write you a role. I was like, I want to write you a role that plays against everything that I want to write you like smart. You're going to manipulate me. You're strong. And I'm kind of the pretty, like, one in distress. And she was like, this is so cool. Like, I've always wanted to get cast in something like that. And then Devin Petrie, who played my girlfriend in Hollywood, and then she played Vera in this. And Devin is just like so talented, not only on screen, but really helped us in the editing process too. She was like, I want to learn to edit. I want to sit in the editing room. And another person that, how it is when you act opposite someone for a long time in multiple things, you understand each other, right?
Yes, wonderful.
And she's someone that like nobody else on set would ever know, but she knows when to like nudge me, and she'll be like, you're not doing it. I'm like, what? She's like, you're not in it. I'm like, you know what? I don't like that you called me out, but you're right. And like, let's step it up a notch. You know what I mean? So it's cool to have that like unspoken connection with somebody else where it's like, I can just look at Devin and I know she's going to deliver what I need. We had a really interesting moment in that movie, not to speak ad nauseum about Soulless, but we had a really interesting moment in that movie where sort of the second time around when I'm the bad guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I'm scared, right? And I said, yeah, you're scared. I said, but the interesting choice to me as a director, when you're scared, everyone does flight or fight, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, I'm scared. I'm going to overact and be really scared. Or I'm going to be tough and fight the person. To me, the choice in a situation like that is freeze. And I said to Devin, I said, you're not fight or flight, you're freeze. I don't want you to be overly scared. I want you to be like, maybe if I don't move, he'll leave me alone, right? Because I think that's a genuine choice. It's a realistic choice. And man, she froze. And the first take, I'm like, yo, we got it. And she's cool. Like, we had a shot in there of her eyes opening on the mattress, and that was her. She was like, hey, we're like moving on, like we got everything. She's like, no. She's like, we need to get a shot of my eye. And I was like, yeah, we do. You know what I mean? I was like, great call. And we used it. And I think it's one of the better shots in like the entire film,
Nice.
Yeah.
Good call. Yes.
It was a really good call. It was
project.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you started doing more when the pandemic hit.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's when I started like producing and really getting into the filmmaking, side of things. Cause everything slowed down and and I was like, you know what? Like I've been sitting on this TV pilot for a long time. I want to make it happen. So my acting coach, Chris Neville, who was pivotal in introducing me to everybody that kind of I know locally, was like, dude, let's get a team together and like see what we can do. So I reached out to James, who was the Charcuterie Bang Bang guy. I reached out to James and this dude Jesus Paez, who is a phenomenal, he does phenomenal lighting. He's a photographer. He's also a doctor, by the way. So it's like what a cool multifaceted guy he is. And we started putting together a little production team, and then I used a lot of comedians in that because I've done stand-up for a long time. So I used a lot of local comedians. My writing partner on that, Orlando Baxter, who tours nationally. We had Brian Gilwaukee, national touring comedian, Sean Conley, another comedian from Worcester. This kid, Jimmy Cash, who has like millions of TikTok followers now because he's a janitor and he does hilarious like janitor content on TikTok. And then funny enough, the one person I hadn't cast was my girlfriend, Kate, in the show. And I was like, she's kind of this like bohemian girl that's like a little bit like, too cool to really be like a genuine like Worcester vibe, like maybe like a little LA vibe in Worcester. And I was scrolling. This is the honest to God's truth. We were at Foxwoods, my wife and I was scrolling on Facebook, people you may know, just like for no reason. Like I wasn't thinking of anything. And Devin comes across my people I may know. And I stop and I turn to Carrie and I go, that's Kate. And she goes, oh my God, it is. Because Devin has this natural like bohemian vibe to her, right? And I'm like, well, I don't know her. I'm like, this is going to be so weird. I was like, whatever. So I friend her and I send her a message. I'm like, hey, I'm not a weirdo, although this is going to come off really weird. And I'm sure a bunch of dudes inbox you all the time saying they're not weird. I was like, but if you want to have a phone call, I have a TV pilot. I don't know even if you act. I knew nothing about her. I was like, but you look, in my mind, you are the person. And she just turned out to be just like super awesome. And she was like, yeah, like, let's do it. Like she's been modeling for a long time. She's like, I've always been interested in acting. And so, yeah, it just worked out that way. And now like, we've done multiple projects together,
It's a good story. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the business, keep your headshots up.
Keep your headshots up. And like, I think like if you're in the business, you never know how stuff's going to work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The silliest thing.
Yeah.
IMBD, keep it up.
Keep up your IMDb. Get a picture up there, right? That's like the biggest thing.
The hit won at the 2023 Boston International Film Festival. How did it feel snagging that award?
I think I almost passed out when the award happened because like I was not even expecting it. Like I almost didn't even go to the awards night because like it was so amazing and so surreal. And it's provided me with a lot of opportunity since then. So the film that I co-starred in with Jordan was the director of the Boston International Film Festival directed that film. And he said, hey, Tom, like I saw you in the hit. And he's kind of like with Devin, he's like, I can't picture anyone else playing this role but you. And I was like, oh, cool. An angry guy, I guess. But I sent it on that too. And so I did a few self-tapes for the production team. And they're like, dude, like, that's it. And I got cast in the lead in that film. So big shout out to Patrick Jerome and his film. But yeah, I mean, talk about surreal. Like, first of all, I didn't even think it would get in. And then it got in. And I'm like, whoa, the hit got into Boston. And it's won a bunch of these awards are for the hit. And it kept stacking up award after award, kind of all over the country, all over the world. It went bonkers in India, which is wild. Yeah. And like, so I kept getting free submissions to all these Indian film festivals and it kept winning. And then all of a sudden I got like hundreds of Indian followers and they were like, hey, and I was like, what is going on? But it came together. And sometimes stuff comes together and it worked out and we're super fortunate. James is in that also. James is such a talented actor and his wife Louise was in that. James is just such a talented actor in behind the scenes. He has a feature that's coming out himself. And like, I don't know, I think I like bet on local talent, and the bet seems to be paying off because a lot of these people are just talented. You met a lot of them at Dead of Winter, but there's just a good group of people from New England that are talented that I think have been overlooked by New York and LA for a long time, and I'm the one looking at them, and I'm going, "Hey, I think you'd be good in this part." Even if I just found you on Facebook, you know.
Nothing like family. Making
Yeah,
your community, making your family.
exactly.
Relationship capital.
100%.
You're doing a great job with your relationship capital.
We're trying. You know what I mean? We're trying.
It's wonderful. So how did you craft that short? What's the story behind the hit?
Yeah, so it's funny. I don't know if it's funny. I always say it's funny. So the hit I initially wrote as a comedy. So I thought, like, man, wouldn't it be funny to do a movie about two hitmen that killed the wrong person, and then it's like them trying to like clean it up. You're like, what the hell? Like, you know, like they went into the wrong apartment and they shot the person. They're like, well, dude, what are you doing? That's not the guy. Like that type of thing. And you know, that was it up until we decided to like roll into sort of official pre-production. And I sent it to Jesus Paez, the guy I was telling you about, because he's just a smart guy, and I really like his intuition and the way he thinks about stuff. I sent it to him. I sent it to James. And Jesus was like, Tommy, I think this is a drama. And I was like, really? And he's like, dude, if we lean into the darkness of this, I think you have like a really cool story. I'm like, oh, well, never looked at it that way. And as a filmmaker, as a writer, I think some people can be really held up with like getting stuck in their ways. And for me, I'm super collaborative, right? Because I think I'm only as strong as the people that I trust to show you it. So like, I'm showing you this because I think you have a strong, valid opinion. So to take your opinion and then just be like that and keep doing my own thing, really, I don't understand why you'd show it to them. So I kind of sat on it for a few days, and I was like, I don't even know if I can write this as a drama. I had kind of only written comedies. And I was like, let's try it, you know? So I sat down with Jesus and I was like, what are your notes? Like, how would you change this into a drama? And he kind of like outlined what his thoughts were, and I combined it with how I was planning on doing it. And so we came up with a movie about sort of an older hitman, which is what I played, right? And a young kid that is like looks up to this older guy that wants to be what he is. And the older guy is really, it's a cautionary tale where he's like, this life's not for you, man. Like, don't do this. Like, stay out of it, you know? And the kid's like, no, like I got to prove myself. And so we turned it into a really like dark drama. And it was the right choice. And it was a really cool choice. So now the story is sort of a cautionary tale about like an older hitman trying to convince this young kid that it's not the right move to do it, and the ordeal that they go through in the aftermath of killing someone. And the other kid has never killed anyone before, and it hits him. And the other guy's like, yeah, dude, this is, you know, it's what I was telling you about. You know what I mean? And then they get into some trouble with when James's character enters with a really bad guy. You know what I mean? It's kind of cool. Yeah.
It's very cool. Very cool. Now it reminds me of Adolescence. Have you watched that recently?
Yeah, it is. It's similar. It's similar vibes to that. It's sort of similar vibes to like a Training Day almost too, where it's like the older guy with the new, you know, happy-go-lucky guy that like wants to do everything, and it's like, dude, there's more to this than you understand. You know what I mean? So yeah, it is. It's very similar to that, but it worked out, which makes me happy.
It's fabulous. It's splendid. It's a wonderful. You focus on subtle acting and writing. What's that in your jam in today's wild, loud world with all the noise?
I think it's my escape from the noise.
Oh, your dog snoring.
Can you hear him? Oh my God, I'm so sorry, everybody. Hulk is out. He is. Oh, he's up now. He just got up. He heard his name, so now he just popped up. Yeah. What's funny?
That was the foghorn, ladies and gentlemen.
What's funny? Really? On Soulless, we had 3 crew members that all had English bulldogs. We had myself, Jesus has an English bulldog named Contador, and then Steve, our DP, has an English bulldog named Bruce, who we actually brought on set for the last day of shooting. So Bruce came and like he was our little assistant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, cute. Yeah,
but yeah, for me, writing and filmmaking is my step into myself, right? So it drowns out all the noise of the outside world. I try not to listen to that much. I try and listen to my intuition, and that's got me a lot further than listening to the outside opinions on stuff.
That's good. Tough moments that making the hit taught you. Something big? Tough moment?
Yeah, I think that the overall process of making the hit, right? There was a lot of success with it. So there was a lot of upside. There was a lot of great stuff with it. I think that I tried to, shoot it in a time period that probably wasn't right for the script. Like going back, I would have added a day or two to the shoot. I think we pushed like super hard. I think I'm forever grateful for the people that were a part of that pushed hard with me, and selling the vision hard enough that it maybe in a light that people all saw the vision, so they wanted to be a part of it. But I think ultimately the biggest lesson I got out of that is like, don't try and squeeze stuff into a time period. Like, try and set the time period for the right amount of time that the script needs to fully breathe. We were so lucky. Joey Boover, who played opposite me, is a super talented stage actor. Like, he's been in $1 Million Quartet. He played Elvis, and like, nice. And so we had a vibe that like we were just rolling. But like, if there were any minor hiccups, it would have thrown the shoot completely off. And so I think it's like, don't grind your crew, don't grind your cast, be mindful of other people. It's really easy when you're steering the ship to forget about the people that are like folding the napkins, right? And at the end of the day, they are as important as you in the overall process. And I've tried to become overly mindful of that in my sort of newer iteration of things. And like, I always try and get better with everything. So like with Soulless, I'm trying to get better than that now. Like, and not from a perspective of the film will be better, but from a perspective of like, Tom is better. And I want people to be able to see that. And I want to be the type of person that works with the same people over and over again, because they go like, this dude gets it. He's not grinding us. He's treating us right. He's paying us well. He's taking care of us. I think that's my biggest lesson between now and then is like really, really take care of your people and like check in on them when you're not shooting a movie. Check in on them as people, like get to know who they are. Go grab a drink with them. Go grab dinner with them. Understand the hardships that they're going through, because to make a movie happen, like it's easy to be the guy that gets that hangs the award on his wall, but there was 40 people involved in the award on the wall, and some of them have very hard lives and like very hard stories that they come from, and to just see them for a grip or a PA, I think isn't fair. And like, regardless of the size of the production I work on, I want to be that guy that like really cares about the people that work with him and work together on a team,
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's not just a note for working on movies and film. That's a note for whatever you're working on.
It's a note for life.
Working on. Exactly.
Yeah, it's a note for life and a note for appreciation and just being genuinely appreciative for everything that's going on. Because as you know, getting, whether it's a 3-minute film or a feature film, getting anything to happen in this business genuinely is a miracle, right? So just be grateful and thankful in the moment for everybody that's helping your vision come true.
And everyone that helped get you there.
100% from day one. From day one.
Yeah.
100%.
It's such a wonderful world we live in.
It is. It's amazing. It's amazing. And that's why I was saying, like, at the end of the day, if a project falls apart or if a project bombs, we're still so fortunate to be like even talking about this stuff, right? Like it's pretty cool.
And then you go, okay, so let's see what happened. Let's dissect that. What am I learning from this? How can I do it better next time? And
100%.
okay, and all right, so that wasn't meant to be. And now we're going to
100%.
So how do you keep your film so fresh? You have a unique shooting style.
Yeah. I think again, collaboration, right? Like Steve is such a good DP too. It's collaboration, but it's also like just not settling for the average, right? Like, I spent so much time with Steve before Solus, staying up until like 4 in the morning, going like, what can we do that's different? What can we do? How can we make the audience feel the movie, not just watch the movie?
Mhm,
And
mhm,
I
mhm.
wanted to push the audience, but I wanted to push everybody involved. Like I wanted to like Steve and I have a funny relationship where it may seem like adversarial, but it's almost like if you're watching Tombstone, we're almost like Johnny Ringo and Doc Holliday, where it's like, I respect you, I know you respect me. Let's push each other and see who really can do it. And he'd say that to me, like I'd be like, all right, we're gonna like set this in. Like, are you gonna send it? I'm like, dude, I'm gonna send it. Are you? Like, are you gonna send it? He's like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna. And hey Jake, how's it going? And
Hi, Jake. We got you.
yeah, we got you, Jake. And so to me, uh it's collaboration, but it's like not settling. Like to me, I don't know, maybe I'm jaded from like just doing this for a while, but like two shots are easy, wide shots are boring. Like, do they need you? Do you need them? Yeah, you need them, but like, can we do a cool crop in shot like the shot with Jordan in the therapist's office where I showed a bunch of people in editing, right? And
Mhm.
everybody in editing said, I don't like that shot. And I said, good. That's what I want. I want you to not like it because what I'm creating is anxiety and anticipation and discomfort. So I want you to not like it. Never was like, you got to change that shot because it cropped her from like the top lip to just below the breast. And it's a really weird shot.
Uh-huh.
And Stevie and I were like, the more people don't like this, the more we actually kept liking it. And I did it with timing too. Like I pulled a lot of stuff with Leanne, who's a phenomenal editor, by the way, Leanne Silva. When we were editing, I said, Leanne, is there stuff?
Is she the frog hat lady?
Yeah. Is she ever? Yeah, she is
Yes.
the frog hat. Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
that.
Yeah. What's up, Leanne? And I would say, Leanne, go back. Do we have footage from when we were rolling, but not even shooting? And she's like, yeah. I was like, pull it in. I want more time in here. I want it to be so awkward and so painful that just at the moment where you're like, what is happening? Then I talk. And we just kept playing with that until I was like, that's weird enough. Let's keep it. And like settling on like different, like you don't have to be like, I painted within the lines for a long time. And I say this all the time. You have to learn to paint within the lines before you become Picasso. The biggest pet peeve of mine is first time writers, first time people pitching story ideas to myself or John, and they go, this has never been done before. And I go, I can guess why. I can immediately guess why. Right. But after painting in the lines for 20 years, I'm going, can I step outside the line a little bit? Like, I'm not doing anything wild. I'm not shooting like the Wizard of Oz, right? But I'm going like, can I crop a shot that's standard a little bit differently to make you feel a certain way when you see it, right? And putting in that time and effort to say, I want this to stand out from the standard two shot. As an actor, I said to Jordan and Devin, I want to see if I can push you guys. Like to me, and you know this from an acting perspective, acting in a wide shot, you can act in a wide shot. Can you act when I crop in on just your eyes? Can you tell me that story now? You can. I know you can. I know you can, Cynthia. But like that's filmmaking, right? There's a difference between like making a movie and making a film. And it's like, can we push each other to the limit of like you telling a story like you're telling a story right now,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And so I think it makes it fun for everybody involved too, because we're not just sitting in wide shots and two shots and throwing dialogue back and forth. We're going, no, no, no. Say it again. Don't blink. Deliver it.
Yeah.
Deliver it like you mean it. Now I'm going to crop in on just your mouth. Deliver the line slow. Say it awkward. Say it powerful. And like, let's have some fun making a film. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
that's how I think, in a long-winded answer, pushing
And
people.
you do it so subtly. What
Yeah,
advice do you have for that?
I just, it's another pet peeve of mine, both in writing and in filmmaking in general, is overdoing stuff, right? Like fight or flight. Let's freeze. Let's see how that looks. Let's see how, how can you tell me the story without overacting it? How can you, and I think, there's a plague in indie filmmaking across the world, even in major studio stuff, where people overwrite, overact, overshoot. And it's like, can we rein this all in and make this story
Believable?
Yeah, felt, right? Can we feel this story as the actor? Can we feel this story? You want to have like a first AC going like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like that's feeling the story. And, that's what I focus on in filmmaking, even in the hit. Right. And I'm fine tuning it with each iteration of stuff that I'm doing. But like, I don't think it's anything earth shattering. I think it's just pulling back, right? And being like, how do we, pull back on the stick a little bit and get something that's not so campy, right? Because there's enough of that, in my opinion.
And you probably can read your audience and play them from your background as a comedic. So you probably knew what joke was going to hit, where their laugh was going to come, and you probably judged your audience on how quick they got it or what the time period was before they got
it. I think like for years of comedy, I got a lot on timing, whether it's timing a laugh or timing a feeling of uncomfortable, right? You learn timing in comedy. And I think that that's a key to filmmaking as well. It's like, do I want them to laugh here? Do I want them to feel weird here? Do I want them to be upset in this moment? How long can we stay in that moment until they're sick of being upset and you got to move on to the next beat? You know what I mean? I want to take them right to that edge, then move on.
What's the Worcester flavor you're bringing back to filmmakers' forefront?
Oh man, the Worcester flavor.
Yeah. Because you're all about the environment and taking care of it and getting people to come and make that their hub. So what's your flavor?
Yeah, my flavor is like, there's so much here, right? So Worcester now is different than Worcester when I grew up. I used to call it the city of broken dreams because all like empty warehouses, but like now it's vibrant, right? But what's cool about filmmaking in Massachusetts in general, right? Worcester can be New York, Worcester can be Boston, Worcester can be Chicago. We have old buildings, we have new buildings. The beauty of it is an hour from Worcester, we have a beach. An hour from Worcester, we have a mountain. 15 minutes from Worcester, we have mountains. We have woods, we have urban areas, we have suburban shooting. Like, man, if you want to shoot a movie, there's like 9 colleges, someone will correct me, 9 or 10 colleges in Worcester. You want extras? Let's have an open casting call in Worcester. You'll have thousands of people turning out for that, right? Not only that, though, you want to shoot a college movie? We have 10 college campuses. Like, there's so much cool stuff here. What I'm bringing to it that's the environment. What I'm bringing to it from a filmmaker's perspective is if you want to make a movie that is gritty and told from a fashion of subtlety and art and heart, come here and let's talk and let me look at your script and don't be hurt when I dial it way back. But I think that's what I'm trying to bring to the table. It is, the environment's phenomenal. And I'm trying to bring just that flavor. You know what I mean?
Nice.
That goldfish cheddar flavor, There
you go. There you go. With extra cheddar. Oh, so what's next? Another short, a feature, a wild new project brewing besides your trilogy?
Yeah, so I had a super cool meeting today for a feature that I'm working on. It's a romantic comedy early on in the development phase, but met with former Celtics player and Celtics announcer and got them to commit to being a part of the film. So I'm super excited about that. We're going to start fundraising. Hey, we're still raising funds for Soulless. If you want, go to hollywoodfilmgroup.com and we're still raising money for the festival run. So we had some awesome investors that helped us make Soulless a possibility. But, the festival runs another expense, right? So we're trying to get Soulless in right now. We just had to get it colored. We're trying to get some maybe minor tweaks on a little bit of editing done. And then we're going to try and submit to the big ones. So we're going to try and submit. I already submitted to Toronto, but we're going to try and submit to Toronto, Tribeca, Sundance, and see if we can get it in one of the bigger festivals. And then it's always filmmaking is fundraising. So constantly on the look for partners, businesses that want us to shoot in their business or shoot at their location or help support one of these movies. Come listen to me give you a pitch deck. I'm a fun guy. So that's what's next is, we got those projects. And then I'm happy to announce I just got a grant from a foundation to do a fire department documentary. So I will be starting, myself and John and Leanne and Devin and James and Jordan. They might be hearing it for the first time this time. Hey guys, I'm going to be giving you a call. Yeah, we're going to be starting a documentary. It's going to start as a short with the potential to grow it into a feature. But we got the grant, and we're going to start shooting on a fire department documentary about fire departments in Massachusetts. So super close to my heart, super cool. Interested to take a deep dive and bring my sort of North Star to documentary filmmaking. John and Leanne have done a few that have done a festival run. And I've studied documentary for a long time. So excited to direct my first documentary. Hopefully it becomes a feature. But I want to see if I can bring those same principles that I took from narrative storytelling into documentary.
That sounds like is that your next dream? Your film to write, direct, star in? Is that your?
I mean, that's happening. That's happening. We're
officially. You got it.
This is it, Cynthia. Hey everybody, we are officially in pre-production for Burning Down the House. So let's make it happen. Yeah.
Ooh la.
Yeah.
Ooh la.
And then we got to get you back up to Boston and in one of our things. You know what I mean? We got to get you acting in one of our movies.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm up for their Mother's Day weekend, as a matter of fact.
Oh, very cool.
My son's I'm a grandmother now, and my
congratulations.
Son, Francis Frankie's getting baptized on May 10th.
Oh, so, cool.
Yes, and you might have to come to Washington, D.C. to go to the fire. I can't think of the name of it. It's the Fire Association Union.
Oh, the International. Yeah.
Yes.
So my uncle's a member. My uncle is one of the board members for the IAFF. So he'll be down there a lot. He maybe I'll come down, check it out. Yeah, I would love to take the girls down there.
Yes. Oh, there's so much to see. And
yeah,
they have two really cool old fire trucks in the window.
Oh, cool.
Old motorcycle. That's very cool.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
Years back in the day.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. And yeah, I'd love to get the girls down there. What a cool place for them to get to experience too,
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's an easy trip. It's an easy little trip, like an hour-and-a-half flight,
Yeah. Put up where people can reach you, Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram at Tommy Jay Dwyer. Hey, there I am at Tommy Jay Dwyer. HollywoodFilmGroup.com. I told you that's where the soulless stuff is. That's John's website. Look at those Hollywood shades. And then, Cynthia, I think maybe we get you in Hollywood. So I'm turning Hollywood into a feature film. Script is written, ready to roll, looking for that financing. Yeah. Yeah.
So are you going to go to con with your
Yeah, so that's the plan with Soulless, right? We're going to do a lot of like horror cons, Comic-Con type stuff. I want to start grabbing tables and booths. Maybe I'll see you at some of those too. Send people my way. I'll send them yours.
Okay,
we can
we got
cross pollinate that way.
And you have a beautiful wife who has a beautiful whole business now.
Yeah, so Charcuterie Woo on Instagram. It's charcuterie_woo. I like it. Guys, come on.
Oh, I know. We are the
best. Follow Carrie. We do, she does full, 20-foot long grazing tables for weddings and corporate events. She did a grazing table for the Hollywood premiere. We had a whole, table. But we also teach classes. So we go to breweries and vineyards all around Massachusetts teaching classes. And
it was so delicious. It was so delicious.
Carrie. Hey.
You made me a fan. So thank you.
Oh, Carrie. Yeah. And yeah, we teach classes and it's awesome. And I don't know, Carrie, can I say it? She's
advertise, let people know so they know where to go.
Carrie's opening a storefront
and take a class and learn how to do this for your parties, because it's amazing. I don't know if you have any on Zoom yet, but you might want to think about your next one, filming it too. We've Zoomed a few. We did a lot during COVID on Zoom. I have a funny quick story. I know we're running up, but you're good.
Save it for another time.
Don't worry. Yeah. Go.
We had a Zoom class through this Boston food group, and there was like 300 people in attendance. And one of them was asked me, I said umami, and someone said, Tom, what's umami mean? Right? Like in the chat. And I said, I had no idea. So I was like, umami. I said, oh, it's like that it makes you just want to go like, oh, mommy. And all of a sudden, a guy interjects and he said, excuse me, I'm a Michelin star chef out of Toronto. He said, umami is actually the perfect combination of, and I was like, why are you in this class? Like, what are you doing? But he was awesome. We became Instagram friends after, and we've stayed super connected. But I was like, what in the world am I teaching a Michelin star chef how to make a charcuterie board for, you know?
Kudos for both of you. Kudos for him for coming out and getting your flavor all over him.
Charcuterie, yeah.
The essence, that is so fabulous. And that's like my new favorite thing. So I'm like,
oh, I love it. Well, when you come up for Mother's Day, well, I'll send you a board. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I'll order one up. Yes.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, share this out. Tommy Jay Dwyer is amazing, and so is his wife. So you got a double whammy here. You can eat and watch movies. Oh,
I know. Like, what's better than that?
Yeah. And it's finger food, and it travels well, and it makes a beautiful table.
Absolutely.
So see you next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And be good, be smart, work on your inner side, make good choices, eat well, get sleep, drink water, and we love you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you, Cynthia.
It was so fun.